Today's guest on Babbie's House is an international speaker and award-winning author of over 20 books. And today we'll talk about books 21 and 22, which are filled full of family activities and devotions. My guest is Karen Whitling, and I'm Babbie Mason, and this is Babbie's House. Stay tuned. It's all coming up right now.
Babbie's house, Babbie's house. Every day is filled with possibility. At Babbie's house, Babbie's house. Everybody is family. Welcome to Babbie's house.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Babbie's House. I'm your host, Babbie Mason. Thanks for joining me today. Today's guest is Karen Whitling, and Karen is a prolific author, and we're going to talk about two of her brand new books. And Karen is keen on family activities, which is always fun for kids and for grown-ups alike. So you'll meet Karen Whitling in just a little bit. But I want to kick things off with a song that is fun for me to sing because it's all about Jesus. And the name of the song is called Jesus Reign. That's what I want him to do in my life. I pray you want him to reign in your life as well. Let's worship together, shall we?
Countryside, from the mountains to the valley wide, from the river to the ocean tide, Jesus, Jesus reigns. Oh, come on, everybody say, from the city to the countryside, from the mountains to the valley wide, from the river to the ocean tide, Jesus, Jesus reign, Jesus reign, reign all over the world today. Let your name be glorified in the earth, we pray. Whoa, let everybody say, to the ends of the earth, Jesus, Jesus reign. Let our souls be filled. As we're forgiven, let us all forgive. And every moment show us how to live. Jesus, Jesus, reign, reign in the church, Lord. Kingdom come. And in our homes, let us all be one. And in our hearts, let your will be done. Jesus, Jesus, reign, Jesus, reign. Glory.
welcome back to the show, everyone. I would like to introduce you to Karen Whitling, and she is a prolific author. She's an international speaker. She's written a lot of books, and she writes for families, for moms, for young girls, and she is all about instilling the love of Christ in the lives of young people as well as adults. Will you help me to welcome to Babbie's house, Karen Whitling, my good friend. It sure is good to see you.
Oh, great to see you.
So
always,
good to see
Babbie.
you. Now, Karen and I are members of ASA, which stands for Advanced Writers and Speakers Association, and we get to see one another from time to time, so it's like seeing my long-lost friend since the last time we saw one another a few months ago at our annual convention. So it's always good to see you, Karen, and I always love it when you come because you always bring great books, and you write, your writing is just so fresh because it's so applicable. And you wrote a book a while ago. It was a devotional for young girls, and of course I'm a young girl at heart, and just devoured that little book and then passed it on to my granddaughter. But you write a lot about the princess mindset, and that's not just a fairy tale mindset. And I want you to elaborate on that in just a moment. But let's talk about one of your newest books, called "Raising a Young Modern Day Princess: Growing the Fruit of the Spirit in Your Little Girl." What inspired that?
A few things inspired it. For one thing, I have 2 girls. I have 6 granddaughters, and I was always concerned that they loved playing dress up. They wanted to be a princess on the outside, and I thought, but you need to be a princess on the inside. You need to understand you are a real princess because you're the daughter of the king.
Amen.
And one of the things I did with my children, everyone said, oh, but you need to share that and write that for other people. And then I talked to Doreen Hanna, and she and Pam Farrell did a book for older girls, Raising a Modern Day Princess. And we all said, we have to do one for the moms of the little girls. And so Doreen and I ended up writing that together, and Pam did the foreword. So we're also still grouped around that same thought.
Yes. Tell me why it's important to instill the thought or the fact that young girls should have a princess mentality. Why is that such an important theme to remind them or to teach them?
Right. It helps give them identity. It helps give them dignity, that they realize I'm valuable, I'm approved, I'm accepted by God, and I am loved, I'm cherished, so that when they go out in the world and there's people who want to bully them, or there's guys later when they're dating who want to try to subject them to things they shouldn't be subjected to, they can say, no, I am a princess. You can't do that to me. I have a father who loves me, cares for me, protects me. And that helps them as they walk through life, and it helps instill them with the faith of God, who does dearly love them.
Yes, that they have great value, and
Yes.
that they have a purpose,
Yes.
a God-ordained purpose,
Yes.
as Jeremiah says, to prosper them and not to harm them, to give them a hope and a future. Now, this book called Raising a Modern Day Princess is for parents.
That's for the parents,
Yes.
raising a young modern-day princess.
Yes,
to match the other one.
That's right, to raise a young modern-day princess. And so talk to me about how this book will help parents instill this lifestyle and this mindset into the lives of their daughters.
Right.
What can they expect to read in this book?
They can expect stories, real stories of what we and friends of ours did with their young girls from the dad perspective or the mom's perspective, and also that ability as a mother to learn to perceive what your child's need is, to pray with your child so she will become prayerful and then therefore have the fruit of faithfulness, to inspire joy in your child, to nurture and cultivate the skills that we want. And it gives them tools like looking at their personality with a little personality quiz to identify what their bent is, so you can work with your individual child and what their child's needs are to help nurture all of that growth in them. And there's 100+ activities to do to engage with your child, so while you're teaching it, you actually have the tools of doing something with your child.
You know, Karen, you're really keen on family activities. I love that
Yes.
about you,
Yeah.
because in a day and age where everybody's connected, you know, we talk so much about being connected, but yet I think we live in a world that has never been lonelier and
Right.
more separated and more detached. And you have filled this book full of wonderful activities for for families. But you mentioned dads a moment ago and how important it is for dad to be involved in the life of his daughter. Are there certain activities for moms as opposed to dads, or that mom can take the lead or dad can take the lead?
Yes, there are. There's a mom toolbox and a dad toolbox, and dad-daughter activities for every chapter, as well as general activities that either parent can do with them. So in the dad toolbox, we have it's important for a dad to do a tea party with his young daughter.
Oh, how fun
to
is
teach her
that?
some respect and to show her how a man is going to take care of her and be a gentleman, and how to converse with their dad, to have some dad-daughter dates, do some dad-daughter workshop kind of things too, to learn how to use some tools.
Listen, I am the first person who is all about a woman's individuality and supporting herself and being confident. I'm all about being the confident woman, but listen, there's still that, I'm still a woman.
Right.
And I still love to be treated with dignity and respect, and I'm still feminine. I still want my husband to carry out my luggage and to open the door for me and to pull out the chair for me and open the car door for me. And those are wonderful activities that you're helping dad and his daughter to establish, teaching the daughter that she is valuable. So talk to me about some of those mom-daughter activities.
Right, well, with the mom activities, there are, again, looking at that personality each time and perceiving and maybe journaling a little bit about your daughter. So if you realize your daughter is a princess of order, you need to give her a little bit more routine. If she's the party princess, then you need to understand socialization is important to her, and discipline might include you cannot talk or play with your friend until you do this, because that is what they crave, and if they don't have it, then that's what's going to motivate them to do what you need them to learn how to do. It's also modeling. If you want to teach them respect, you have to show respect. If all of a sudden a car is cutting you off in the freeway and you say things you shouldn't, you need to later on talk to your child and say, I wasn't right. Forgive me. I have to ask God to forgive me. I shouldn't have done that. And next time when a car cuts me off, we're both going to say, that person must need prayer. God put them right in front of me so we can pray, and we'll pray together for them instead of my using words I shouldn't. And so we have to be real with our daughters. And that's part of what we're showing them in modeling things, is to be real and to be the woman that you want your daughter to become.
This is so good, Karen, because you write to help parents understand their daughter's personality, her gifts and character traits, and her strong points. You know, I can see where a lot of sometimes parents. I'm a parent of 2 kids. You're a parent of how many kids? 5. 5 kids. That sometimes we get frustrated when we see our one child that maybe talks too much, or maybe is not as neat as another brother, but they're creative and they maybe have the gift of, maybe she talks too much, but maybe later on she's going to be a really good communicator. Right. So this will help mom and dad to nurture those really good strengths that a child can have. Well, when we come back after this break, we're going to talk more about your books, and you've written another very special book called Christmas is Coming, but Waiting is Hard, Family Activities and Devotions for Advent, which is the holiday time, Christmas time.
Yes.
So when we come back after this break, we'll talk more about that. Stay tuned, because after this break, we'll come back with more of Babbie's House and my really good conversation with my fellow author and friend, Karen Whitling. After this break, we'll be right back with more of Babbie's House. Well, welcome back to Babbie's House. My guest today is Karen Whitling, and she has written some great books. She has a princess devotional that I read a few years ago and passed it down to my granddaughter, and she is back with 2 more very fine books, Raising a Young Modern-Day Princess, and Christmas is Coming, but Waiting is Hard, and isn't that the truth? Family Activities and Devotions for Advent. So what inspired this book, besides the obvious answer, Christmas? But on the deeper level, more specifically, what inspired the book?
My 3rd son said, Mom, you've written all these books. Are you going to do one for Advent and Christmas and all the traditions we always did as a family? And how can you not respond to your child who's grown saying, are you going to do this for me to do with my children?
Oh.
And so I said, I'll find a publisher, James.
Of course. Well, that's a cool way to, that's a great inspiration. And you know, Christmas is such a special time. And we're always looking for a way to make Christmas more significant because it's so easy in our culture to get caught up in all the hoopla and the commercialism of Christmas. And this is a way to keep Christmas very, very special. So what are some of the things that we can find in the book?
Well, it goes along with an Advent wreath. So if you use the Advent wreath, you can use that because there's 4 outside candles of that circle, and each represents something. So whether you're using the wreath or not, you can still talk about the prophecy candle, and which is the attribute of hope. So you can talk about the prophets. It starts with that. So you've got the prophets leading you on the journey to Christmas. So whether you're doing it at Christmas or maybe you want to redo it in the summer for Christmas in July, and that's fine too, you have this little slice every day of what happened, what were people looking forward to, and what happened with each of the characters, people that were involved with the birth of Christ.
I love your books because you always have an activity.
I do.
Followed with like a devotion and a prayer.
Yes.
And oftentimes for parents who may find it a little awkward to pray with your kids or finding just the right words or praying along a special theme, you help them with all of it. It's just written right here
Yes.
in the book. Can you talk about maybe one of the devotions, one of the days?
All right, I have a day on Christ being born in Bethlehem. So if you're using the Advent wreath, it's the Bethlehem candle, which is the candle of love. And we talk about the word Bethlehem means house of prayer. An activity that day, talk about how some are really simple, is to make toast, take a square and a triangle of toast to make a little house shape. And then you can put your butter or jam on it and enjoy it. But it gives that visual to the child, that hands-on experience to remember. And has a few little facts. I think that day has a little factoid about something they found that showed David was actually from Bethlehem, and it was an archaeological discovery just a few years ago. So there's little facts in there. There's a song that goes with each day. So that day is, "Oh, Little Town of Bethlehem."
Oh, how precious.
And then just a very simple prayer that on some days, if we're talking about they're not having room for Jesus at the inn, it's just, Lord, help me always have room for you in my heart.
Yes.
Amen. Just something very simple that they can say. And when you have a prayer like that, it's good to say a few words for the younger children, the whole sentence, and let the children echo that so they learn to say the words.
That's very, very powerful, very strong. You know, I commend you for creating family activities because we're living in a day now where people are connected to their phones.
Oh, I know.
We're connected but not connected.
Right.
And so this is a really good way to get families, leave the phone on the kitchen counter, turn it off during
Right.
family time and activity time.
Right.
And everybody's so busy. So
They
help
are.
us with understand maybe a little bit, give us a little bit more insight about how this book can help busy moms.
Well, I try to use things you already have. You're decorating the house, so why not stop and talk about each decoration? You might have Christmas stockings. Have you ever thought, why? Why do I have a Christmas stocking? It's not in the story. And I did that one time, and God said, well, look at this. And he turned me to the verse where when John leapt in his mother's womb because of the coming of Jesus, and it said Elizabeth was filled with the Spirit. He said, that's it. And I said, oh, I'll take my stocking. And on Christmas morning, we already have the stockings. Let's take out a few items and talk about how that reminds us of being filled with God's love, being filled with God's Holy Spirit. So if you take out a piece of fruit, you can talk about the fruit of the Spirit. If you take out a little note, because we would put notes in each other's stockings, that a little love note, we can talk about being filled with God's love and these types of things. So you have it, let's use it. Let's talk about why we have it. So each day there's also a Christmas traditional symbol, but we're talking about why we might want to use that.
You know, we all want to make Christmas special. Christmas is one of those seasons, I think it's the most special time of year. Every year there's just this feeling that's in the air.
Right.
I think it's hope.
It is.
I think it's hope that even in the crazy mixed up world that we live in, everything is going to be okay.
Right.
Because God is with us and He is the God of hope. And a book like this can really be a guide to help us get more out of Christmas. So tell me, is it set up on a day by day?
It's set up on a day by day, 4 weeks, and it also each week has something that helps reach out to other people. Because as you say, people all want that hope. So the first week, which focuses on hope and prophecies, suggests that you find someone who is in need, whether it's an angel tree or some other way of finding someone who needs hope, and get a gift or do something for that family or that person. And another week, the shepherd candle, which is the week of joy, uses the candy cane and talks about a little bit about the history of the candy cane, but it also talks about passing that on to others and tell them, I hope you let Jesus be your shepherd.
That's beautiful. Well, I understand in the book that there are activities that mom can generate, dad can generate. Talk to me about some of the benefits that kids will get out of a book like this.
First of all, engaging with your family. When mom and dad sit down with you for 5 minutes, that's all it really takes on most of these days, to talk with you.
And everybody has that.
That's right. You share that time with them. Because they're reading from the Bible and they're reading what's in there of the devotion, you're increasing their vocabulary. They're reading comprehension, so cognitive skills. You're engaging in conversation because there's little chat questions to talk about and discuss that no one's going to be right or wrong on this. These are just, some of them are just, what has been the best thing about getting ready for Christmas this year towards the end, that type of thing, so we can all share. And learning to converse is important for children. That
So
develops their
important.
social skills.
Yes.
Engaging in doing something with your hands and having fun together, that helps your small motor coordination.
Dexterity and creativity.
Yes, right.
Of course, and every mom, and this is good for grandmothers too. This would be a wonderful activity when the grandkids come to visit, that week between Christmas and New Year, and about that third day, and you're wondering, okay, what can we do now? Right. This would be a wonderful, wonderful guide. Again, the book is called Christmas is Coming, but Waiting is Hard, Family Activities and Devotions for Advent by Karen Whitling. Thank you, Karen, for being my guest today. Can you tell us how we can contact you?
Well, you can go to my website, www.karenwhiting.com, with a K for Karen, Whiting like the fish, Whiting, and get hold of me that way. You can follow me on Facebook and Twitter. I love to have people follow me and chat and
Very good.
messages back and forth.
Very good. Thank you, Karen, for being my guest. It's so good to see you, my friend.
Thanks for having me on. I always love seeing you.
Absolutely. And thank you, my dear friend, for joining me today here on Babbie's House. We always want to encourage you to spend time with your family and encourage you to engage one another in talking about the things of the Lord. Listen, will you reach out to me today at Babbie.com, and there on my website you'll see my books and music and Bible studies and conferences that we have for singers and songwriters, on Babbie Mason Radio, an internet platform where you can hear beautiful music 24 hours a day. Well, God bless you, my friend, and thanks for joining me. I'll see you again next time. Bye-bye for now.